What's up, PokeMoshPit? My name is Eric, YouTube name AnkleBreaker1023. Here I am for you guys, a black and white 2 UU match I had against my friend, whose name is also Eric. And first of all, I'd like to say thank you for all the PokeMoshPit directors and the staff of PokeMoshPit for allowing me to be a director here on this channel. My first upload here was a tryout. This will be my second upload to the PokeMoshPit. This will be my first upload as a main director. So thank you guys very much, whoever wanted me to be on main. Thank you guys very much, and this is a really good opportunity for me. Here I have a UU match. This was actually a really good UU match. And looking at my team, I'll explain the team as you see them as they come up on the screen. This is a new team I've been using for about like 2 weeks before I started this because I actually got hit hard by Hurricane Sandy. And that's a story for another time. So I'm going to lead off with my Raikou, who is a timid choice specs Raikou. So he's going to lead off with this Sharpedo. So on the first turn, I'm just going to go for the Volt Switch because I want to get out of there and I want to get some initiative. He actually packs the Protect, as most Sharpedos do, for that Protect Speed Boost kind of combination. Go for the Volt Switch, obviously going to do nothing. Now here, I'm thinking he's not, he thinks that my Raikou is going to be Choice Scarfed, he told me. So he's going to switch out thinking that a timid Scarfed Max Speed Raikou would still outspeed even at +1 speed from a Sharpedo. So he's just going to go into his Registeel. He didn't want to go into Nidoking just in case I wasn't Scarfed and I was bluffing it, but I wasn't really trying to bluff anything. I was just in there because, you know, I can kill that thing and I could just, it's my Choice Specs Raikou, get the initiative with the Volt Switch. So brings out Registeel, going to take the hit pretty nicely, and I'm just going to go into my Darmanitan here just to directly threaten this thing out. And he probably doesn't want to lose, especially defensive wall, too early. But it ends up that he shows me that he's really a little bit apathetic about his Registeel because he just lets it in here. Could have easily just went for Flare Blitz and killed that thing off. And not many things on his team want to take a Flare Blitz, so I should have just ended up going right for that Flare Blitz because it would have probably killed like a lot of his team. But he actually just stays in, takes the U-turn very nicely due to the resistances and due to him being a Registeel. And he's just going to go and set up his Stealth Rocks. He felt the necessity of getting Stealth Rocks on my side of the field. And you know what, with Darmanitan and Honchkrow floating around, you know, it's always nice. I do have the Rapid Spinner in the form of Blastoise, so I'm just going to try to find an opportunity where I can get him in safely. So, bring up my Gligar now, knowing he can't touch me. I really can't touch him, but Earthquake won't be doing too much. He seemed to be a little bit more specially defensive, I think. So maybe he would take those hits nicely. So I'm going to just go for the Stealth Rocks as he's going to actually go into his Tangrowth. Now here he's just going to go right for the Leech Seed as I decide to just put the pressure on. Go into Darmanitan knowing he could go for Sleep Powder, but he decided just to go for a Leech Seed. I guess just to be safe, just in case he was kind of predicting Roserade, but then he wanted Leech Seed wouldn't make sense. I guess he really should have went for Sleep Powder. Don't understand why he went for Leech Seed, but you know, it ends up being nice for him because he could Leech Seeds by Darmanitan. I'm not going to want to stay in. Since I'm not going to want to stay in, I'm just going to go for a U-turn. He just has to leave his Tangrowth in here to eat the U-turn. He knows it's a non-stab, not that high base power hit, and Tangrowth is a physically defensive beast, so he knows he can take that nicely. So I'm just going to U-turn on out. And I'm just going to go into my Roserade because I know that nothing Tangrowth can do will really hurt me. I am a specially defensive build, and if he has an HP Ice or HP Fire, I know Roserade can definitely take either of those very nicely. And if he wants to go for Sleep Powder, a status, I'll just Natural Cure it off on the switch. And if he wants to go for Leech Seed, it won't affect me because, you know, Roserade is a grass type. So now, basically, I'm just going to try to go and set up some of my spikes. This team really works nicely with Gligar and Roserade because Gligar sets up the Stealth Rocks and Roserade starts setting up all these spikes, and the spikes and Stealth Rocks really help for the residual damages on the switch-ins. So Pokemon like my Darmanitan, like my Raikou, and like my Choice Scarfed Honchkrow, which you'll see soon, which is the MVP of this match, can just do a lot more damage just due to the fact that they have residual damage already on them. So he's going to go into his Cobalion, which is a really good switch into Roserade most of the time because Roserade normally can't hurt Cobalion. And he's just actually going to make a nice play and just go for the Swords Dance right here. Now here, this was a kind of stupid play on my part. I bring up my Blastoise. This is a max HP, max Spec D Blastoise. I should have went into Gligar because I can tank hits from this thing all day and Earthquake him after the -1 close combat defenses or the Stone Edges actually he'd probably be going for. And he probably wouldn't want to stay because it wouldn't be doing enough. But I decided to bring in my Blastoise just in case, just so I can go for the Roar, and I would be able to Roar and just phase this thing out. But it ends up that this close combat is able to kill off my Blastoise with just a little bit of Stealth Rock damage. Even though I'm especially defensive, I still thought I probably could have taken a close combat because I was at very close to full HP. Now I lose my Spinner. His Rocks are here to stay. That's a Life Orb close combat from a +2 Cobalion, and I thought Blastoise could have lived it. But you know what? That was pretty stupid of me for bringing him in anyway. I should have went into this thing because this thing is a very safe counter. And as you see, as he switches out, I would have been able to just apply direct pressure on him, so he would have probably switched last turn. So now, brings out Tangrowth, which is actually a pretty good switch into Gligar because Gligar really can't touch it aside if he has U-turn. but it won't be doing much. It will just get the switch initiative. So I'm just going to go for the Earthquake because that thing's a big threat. Try to get it out of here. It doesn't do jack shit to this Tangrowth. Boy, Tangrowths are actually really bulky. Pretty sure they're still lying in the depths of RU. I think they're in RU, but I think they should maybe get moved up. I have no clue. Actually, I think it has a good place in RU. So I'm going to bring out my Roserade, and I'm just going to know that Roserade completely counters this thing. He just decides to go for Sleep Powder anyway, which really isn't a bad play. Say he gets me to fall asleep, I switch out, he can double Sleep Powder, or he can just burn turns. And now I'm definitely going to scare this thing out because I do have the Stab Sludge Bomb, which is super effective. Tangrowths don't have the best spec D, so I know I can definitely take that thing out from where he is at. He doesn't know what kind of set I am of Roserade. I could be offensive just with leftovers because I haven't really attacked anything yet. And now I'm just going to go into my Darmanitan, predicting a double switch of him to switch out into anything and not try to attack my Roserade. As he does end up switching into his Registeel to take hits from this Roserade. And now, like I said previously, nothing on his team is going to appreciate a Flare Blitz from my Darmanitan. Nothing on his team is really going to be able to take one. I don't think anything on his team can actually take one. I think Torpedo can take two, but it's going to do a shit ton of damage. Goes into the Registeel, just going to go right for Flare Blitz. That's going to be Darmanitan's last stand. He's going to die to the recoil, and this Registeel is going to die to the Flare Blitz. And that's looking really nice for me. That special defensive wall is gone. Now, just if I get Nidoking out of here, my Raikou can just be able to do it from some specs, Volt Switches, and T-Bolts all over the place. So to double down, I decided to bring out my Scarfer. This is Adamant Moxie Choice Scarfed Honchkrow. I think I need to run Jolly because a lot, like Weavile, I think just with max speed still outspeeds this thing, which I'm not positive. I think it does. And I just need to get this thing up in speed. So he brings this Darmanitan in, and I'm predicting this thing to be Choice Scarfed. And I'm just going to go into my Gligar, which is my physically defensive wall. I know Flare Blitz will still do decent chunk, and if he is CB, this Flare Blitz actually has a chance to definitely could 2-hit KO me. That just proves the raw power of Darmanitan. It could potentially 2-hit KO a physically defensive Gligar. Like, not definitely an Adamant Choice Banded Flare Blitz. I'm not sure if it's a direct 2-hit KO, but I know it's a shit ton of damage onto your Gligar. So he's going to go back into his Tangrowth, and here I'm actually going to go. Actually, I'm going to go and just go and he U-turned into his Tangrowth. Never mind, I didn't do anything. I just switched into my Gligar. U-turns into his Tangrowth. Now I'm just going to go and pull a switch out into my Roserade again because I know that this thing can't really touch my Roserade, and Roserade is a great switch into Tangrowth. He actually predicts the switch this time finally and goes for the HP Fire or Ice. I'm not sure which one it is. We don't get to really tell. He told me it was HP Fire, and it's not going to really do anything. Tangrowths, with not having any special attack EVs, aren't really too powerful. This is a specially defensive build of Roserade, as I mentioned earlier, and Roserade can take hits from Tangrowth basically all day. So now here he's going to switch out because he can't hurt me. He's going to go into his Nidoking, as I'm just going to decide to go for another layer of spikes. I'm just setting up my hazards all over the place. And yeah, so I got my second layer of spikes up. So I have one layer of rocks, 2 layers of spikes up, and even though it's pretty late game, it's still going to help because he can bring in his Tangrowth, which is going to be taking a lot more from spikes now, and Cobalion's going to be taking more from spikes. I think Darmanitan dies on his next switching, or second to next switching, if that makes sense. So here he just decides to go for Earth Power on my Roserade. He ends up scoring a critical hit. I don't know if that mattered. I don't know why I didn't go for Ice Beam or Flamethrower. But just goes for Earth Power. I guess it ends up not mattering at all because he crits me and kills me. Don't know if that crit mattered. You guys can calc that if you want. I really don't care at this point because I'm not really too threatened. I'm going to bring up my what's his name, my Gligar, and he actually ends up being Choice Scarfed and locks himself into Earth Power. That's why I didn't go for Ice Beam, or maybe he just didn't have Ice Beam. I didn't actually ask him, but why wouldn't you have Ice Beam? So I'm just under the impression that he's Choice Scarfed. So now the Tangrowth switch was painfully obvious because I know that Tangrowth can wall Gligar for days unless I can get a Toxic on this thing. But I don't want my Gligar falling asleep. And now he could basically put anything on my team to sleep because I don't have Roserade with Natural Cure. He can Leech Seed stuff, and this thing's going to be hella annoying. But I do catch him on the double switch. I bring up my Raikou. I know an HP Ice, suspects HP Ice from a Raikou from this range. We'll be able to kill off Tangrowth. I didn't really, it might look like not the best switch, and I probably could switch in Honchkrow to kill this thing, but I decided I'd bring in Raikou because I think that Raikou would I could do the job anyway, and I'd rather just have my Raikou in here because I could set up this next play, which is he's going to bring out his Darmanitan now. And I have my Raikou in here because now I know that he has to lock himself into a move because I know this thing is choiced, and he's going to go for an Earthquake. He's going to lock himself into the Earthquake. Now, this is what is going to win me the match here, is he locks himself into Earthquake. He is able to kill off my Raikou. Whatever, it's okay. Zap the Raikou is going to go down. But now I can bring in my Honchkrow, and my Honchkrow is a Scarfed Moxie Honchkrow. So after I get one kill off, I'm going to be able to kill anything on his team with now anything switching in is going to die to 2 Drill Pecks. I'm not going to go for Brave Bird because of recoil. Anything on his team that he wants to switch in is going to die to 2 Drill Pecks. So he decides he's going to bring out his Nidoking here, and Nidoking is going to not be able to live a Drill Peck coming from that stab. He's a little bit above half because the spikes and rock damage really do help me actually. So I'm just going to go for that Drill Peck. It's going to bring him down and it's going to kill him off. So now Honchkrow is going to be at that +1. So that's a stab plus. Now everything that's going to be taking a hit is going to be taking a stab +1 Drill Peck from an adamant max attack Honchkrow. And wow, that is strong. Think of taking that beak of that Honchkrow and just stabbing it into like your head or something. Here he doesn't go for Protect, and I don't understand why he didn't go for Protect. Maybe he just, I didn't even ask him about that. I didn't even remember, but he didn't go for Protect, which is really stupid because he could have just protected, got his speed boost up, and probably would have been able to outspeed me on the next turn and kill me off. But I don't get why he didn't do that. I don't know what to say about that. That basically clinched me the match because now I'm at +2. Cobalion is higher, really physically, defensively, bulky naturally, but at that range of health, stab, Drill Peck from max attack, adamant +2. Honchkrow is definitely going to be able to kill him off the Cobalion. This is why I said Honchkrow was MVP, because Honchkrow is coming up late game with the big late game sweep. This Moxie Honchkrow. If you haven't ran Scarfed Moxie Honchkrow yet, I definitely suggest you run it, because as you can see, this thing can put in work to an opponent's team if he doesn't have things to directly counter it. Goes into Darmanitan, going to die to Rocks and Spikes, and that's going to be the match. So hopefully you guys at PokeMoshPit here enjoyed. Hopefully you guys will see me another time in the near future. If you did enjoy this narration, please go leave a like on this video and check out my channel. It'll be greatly appreciated. Thank you guys very much. I'll see you guys next time.